Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a real macroeconomic puzzle, one that was completely unpacked in the doctoral research of Dr. Oluyomi Ola-David. She took a hard look at a massive global economic engine, specifically the Nigerian manufacturing sector, and she realized that the gears were, well, they were completely jammed. And what she uncovered? It gives us lessons that literally apply to developing economies all over the world.
Right at the center of her work is this incredibly stark paradox. You see, on one hand, foreign direct investment, or FDI, was heavily flowing into Nigeria. Now, usually that's a massive win, right? It means industrial productivity, technological growth, the whole shebang. But alongside that rising investment, Nigeria was actually experiencing declining average manufacturing capacity utilization. Their index of industrial production was literally dropping. So, simply put, more foreign money was coming in, but domestic manufacturing was going down. Make it make sense, right?
And honestly, that brings us right to the core question she sought to answer in her thesis. It's the absolute elephant in the room. Why isn't FDI delivering on its promise? If these foreign companies are setting up shop, bringing in capital, supposedly bringing in all this new tech, why isn't the local industry just booming right alongside them? She noticed that while a ton of macroeconomic studies track the sheer amount of money flowing in, very few were actually getting down into the weeds. Very few were examining firm-level productivity and the real labor market effects. So she wanted to figure out where exactly this anticipated industrial development was getting lost in translation.
To solve this mystery, she anchors her thesis on a really simple, beautifully human equation. When preparation meets opportunity, good fortune results. Let's actually look at how she translates this philosophical idea into hard, actionable economic data.
Okay, so in the context of her research, she equates opportunity to the presence of foreign firms. That's the FDI coming out of the country. That is your open door. But she argues that preparation at the local level is the real key to unlocking success here. She defines this preparation as domestic firm absorptive capacity. Essentially, an opportunity is totally worthless if you aren't prepared to take advantage of it. You can have all the foreign firms in the world operating right in your backyard, but if your local businesses aren't prepared to engage with them, that money just flows right back out.
So, what exactly is absorptive capacity? Well, it's a domestic firm's ability to recognize the value of new, external information, assimilate it, and then actually apply it to commercial ends. Think about it like a sponge. If you pour a bucket of water onto a rock, the water just splashes right off. But if you pour it onto a dry sponge, it gets absorbed. Dr. Ola-David found that for foreign investment to actually be socially beneficial and enhance productivity, domestic firms' absorptive capacity is an absolute necessity. Local firms need that baseline of skills, technology, and management to even understand and use the new information those foreign firms are bringing in.
Now, to thoroughly investigate all this, she didn't just guess. She utilized a really robust hybrid framework. She pulled from the theory of the multinational enterprise, endogenous growth theory, and the dynamic capability argument. By combining these three theories, she created this powerful lens to investigate exactly how host countries can truly maximize their gains.
Moving from theory over to her empirical findings, she looked at actual firm-level data to answer a super vital question. What actually boosts labor productivity when these foreign firms come to town?
And here is the blueprint she discovered. For labor productivity to genuinely increase, an economy needs these specific mechanisms all working together. First up, you have to foster supply linkages. Local firms need to actually be doing business with the foreign firms, supplying them with parts, services, materials, you name it. Second, exactly as we just discussed, you have to build absorptive capacity. The local firms must be capable of handling the work and actually learning from it. And third, encourage technological learning, which is also known as demonstration effects. This is basically learning by watching. When local workers and managers interact with foreign firms, see their advanced processes, and then go apply those same processes in their own local factories, boom, productivity spikes.
Now, this leads us to what is probably the most compelling part of her entire thesis, debunking a long-held economic assumption known as the backwardness hypothesis.
The old assumption, the backwardness hypothesis, argued that a wider technological gap is actually a good thing. The idea was that a country that is really far behind will absorb knowledge super rapidly and experience massive productivity gains. But Ayana's evidence completely shattered that for the Nigerian manufacturing sector. She proved that a technological gap that is too wide actually leads to negative productivity. If the foreign tech is just way too advanced, the local firms can't even begin to understand it, let alone adopt it. It's kind of like trying to teach calculus to someone who hasn't learned basic addition yet. The gap is simply too wide for any meaningful learning to happen.
So what's the major policy takeaway here? It's this. Governments absolutely must focus on the nature and composition of foreign direct investment, not just the volume. For decades now, politicians and policymakers have just obsessed over the sheer volume of foreign money. They celebrate when billions of dollars cross the border. But her research serves as a massive warning. If you don't scrutinize the actual nature of those investments, like what sectors are they in, what kind of tech are they bringing, do your local firms even have the capacity to absorb that tech, then that huge volume of money might not do your domestic industry any good at all.
Ultimately, she advocates that Nigeria, and really any nation in a similar position, must take control of their own economic destiny. They have to adopt a new structuralist school of thought. And that means making specific, highly coordinated changes regarding local content and foreign contributions. You can't just throw open the doors, let foreign firms in, and wait around for some kind of economic magic to happen. A nation has to deliberately chart its own definitive pathway to industrialization, and they do that by actively building up the capabilities of its domestic workforce and its local businesses.
Dr. Oluyomi Oladavid's work is a powerful reminder that an open door just isn't enough. You actually need to be ready to walk through it. So as we wrap up this explainer on her brilliant research, I want to leave you with a question to consider about your own local economy, wherever you happen to be in the world right now. Look around at the foreign investments in your region. Is your country, your city, or even just your local industry truly prepared for the opportunities of foreign investment? Because as we've learned today, without that vital preparation, the good fortune is simply going to pass you by. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. And as always, keep questioning the world around you.